brand new, so it's really tight, so that's gonna make it really tough. I've set my timer for 5 1-minute intervals, so we'll do 5 different movements, 1 minute each. Let's get started with side stepping. So, hands can go to your sides or to your hips, toes point straight ahead. All you're gonna do is take a step to one direction, back to center, and then the other direction. So if you don't have a ton of room, this is a great option, just stepping side to side. If you have a little bit more room, take a few steps in one direction, trying to keep resistance the whole time, and then switch directions. This one's gonna be a little tougher since you are traveling. Now, the idea here is keep your toes pointed straight ahead. The tendency might be for your toes to point out. Core's engaged, shoulders down and back. You're really gonna start to feel this in that lateral part of the thighs. Again, you always have the option to just stay where you are and just take a step and then a step. So some of these movements will build upon each other, and it's important you have a good foundation. Hips are soft, knees are soft, so you're using muscles and not your joints. Our next movement is going to be a squat, where we keep the band taut. A few more reps here. Get ready to set your feet shoulder distance apart. Like I said, new band, so it's going to be nice and tight. Feet shoulder distance apart, slight turnout. Hold that turnout. You can take your arms in front for a counterbalance and then stand all the way back up. Now, you can also do this exercise with the band above the knees. You want to make sure though that the band's never on your joint, like on your knee or on your ankle. So I'll just turn from the side here so you can see me sit down nice and low and then back up. Especially if you're warming up, your chest will probably pitch forward, but over time, try to keep your chest up nice and high as you sit your butt back, okay? So sitting low, standing up. Arms can stay in front for a counterbalance. Arms can go across the shoulders. Make this even more challenging, hands behind your head, prisoner squat. That's really tough if you have tight shoulders or tight hips, so no worries if you're not there. What you want to be watching for here is your knees. Try not to let them collapse in, and although you're wrapping your thighs out, you're not overdoing it. You want to keep your feet flat. A few more reps here. We're going to put these last 2 movements together. Side step squat. In 3, 2, last one. So start with your feet close together. And again, you can take step to one side, squat, stand, come back to start. Switch to the other side. Now I'm going to alternate. You could go one direction for 30 seconds and then the other direction for 30 seconds. You can make your movement a little bit more staccato like I am, meaning stop, stand, come back to start, or make it a little bit more fluid. But if you're going to make it more fluid, make sure you have control over the band, not that the band is controlling you. By now, you should be feeling this a lot in your thighs, your glutes, especially your outer hips. Your outer hip muscles are really important for supporting the muscles around your lower back and your knees. So that's why we're warming these up here. Alternative, you could take steps as you squat for a challenge. A few more reps. We're gonna go to another exercise. I love the monster walk. In 3, 2, 1. So I'll turn sideways because you're gonna go forward and back. So you do want some room here. Hands can go to your hips or in front. So keeping your knees soft, pitching slightly forward, sticking your hips back. You're gonna take a few steps forward and then a few steps back. Alternate just like you would be when you were walking, but the idea is you're keeping tension in the band, front to back and side to side. So, feet point mostly straight ahead, maybe a little turned out. Okay, try to keep the tension in the lower body here. Now, if you need to at any point, if you ever feel tension in the back that shouldn't be there, just stand up, shake it out, get right back to it. We're about halfway there. Now, you should really imagine here like you're walking through mud or quicksand. So you really have to concentrate on picking those legs up one at a time. Again, awesome exercises to prepare you for movements like running or cycling or strength training. Want to activate those glutes so the right muscles are working, you're being more efficient, and you're working more safely. A few more seconds here. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick a leg, stand on it. Hands go to your hips, or if you need to, hold on to something. Take one leg, lift it out to the side, lower it down. Now you're gonna lift it behind you and lower. Switch sides. Out to the side, back to start, behind and lower. I'm gonna turn to the side. Now, hips are soft, lift. When you go behind you, pitch slightly forward, really squeeze your glute and hamstring. Out to the side, squeeze your butt, right where your butt meets your thigh. What you want to be careful of is as you lift, you're not leaning your body, so keep your body nice and tight. And as you lift behind you, keep your core engaged. Again, you can alternate like I'm doing here, or you could do all reps on one side for about 30 seconds and then switch. So we're kind of putting together several movements that we've done here. Last 15 or so seconds, we're going to be done with our warm-up, or perhaps you'll take a break and repeat this one more time, okay? Here we go, a few more reps. Keep squeezing. Last set each side. Whew. Here we go. Last one. Great job. All right, guys. So we're all set here with our warm-up. Lay on our back, put the band above our knees. I have my timer set to 5 minutes, 5 1-minute intervals. So that's what we're going to work with today. So you can put that band on almost like you're putting on a pair of pants. And again, flat and flush above your knees. So I'm going to lay down here on my back, feet hip distance apart, knees point straight up to the ceiling. I'm going to start my timer, and we're going to get going with some booty bridges. So palms flat down or up, feet hip distance apart. You're going to lift and lower the hips. Now periodically I'm going to look over at you, but I want you to continue to look up at the ceiling so your neck can stay nice and neutral. What you're doing here is you exhale, squeeze your butt, lift your hips up. This movement's not super complicated. In fact, you've probably done it before, but you have that added resistance of the band above your knees, okay? We're just squeezing at the top and inhale, releasing. Anyone with any lower back issues, you might want to try not lifting so high and just really focus on that squeeze of your butt, okay? You also want to make sure for anybody, you really don't need to lift the hips super duper high, right? We're not trying to crunch the lower back. We're trying to squeeze the glutes, lift the hips, okay? Really push through those heels. If you need a reminder, you can lift your toes. A few more repetitions here, and then we're going to keep our hips up. So by now you should really start to feel it in those legs. Try to relax your shoulders and breathe. At the top, we'll hold, and we're going to begin our next exercise by holding. Okay, 10-second hold here. Think about squeezing the glutes. No compression in the lower back. You want to feel the abs pulled in tight. Now all I want you to do is press the band out an inch, resist in an inch. Out an inch, resist in an inch. Out and in. So you're really targeting those outer thighs. So here we're pushing both knees out. Again, if at any point you need to, you can lower your hips all the way down, reset, and lift back up. Push out and in. Out and in. Now if you want to challenge, what I want you to do is hold one knee still. Push the other leg out, resist it in. And then the other leg out, resist it in. So one leg stays still while the other leg pushes out. This is an exercise that I refer to as a don't move me. In other words, don't move this leg, move that leg. Okay, so one part of you, you're trying to stay still and you're trying to resist the resistance. And again, you can go back to both legs out, both legs in. Good, make sure you're breathing here. This is all about working those glutes and abs. We'll get a little rest by lowering our hips all the way to the floor before we go on to the next exercise. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Walk your feet the tiniest bit closer together. And you're going to lift your hips up. Now this is a glute bridge march. Lift one knee up to tabletop and lower, and then switch. So we're going to continue to alternate sides. Again, your gaze is up at the ceiling, but maybe take your hands to your hip crease, to your hip bones, and make sure the sides are even. So as you lift one leg, you don't want one hip or the other to drop or pop. Now you'll also really start to feel this in the abs as you push that knee toward you. Okay, so exhale as you pull the knee up. Notice my top leg is at 90 degrees. Okay, my top foot is flexed and active. Again, if at any point you need to, lower both feet, lower your hips. Otherwise, keep them up nice and high. Good, continue to switch here. And again, like the last exercise, you can change it up. You could keep one leg up, tap, lift, tap, lift. Let's do 8 more. This one's tough. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's squeeze in another 10 on the other side. Our next exercise, we're going to drop our butt down anyway. Good. Last few. 5, 4, 3, 2. Lower back a break. Lower the hips down. Lift the knees up to tabletop, and you're also going to lift the arms up over your shoulders. Now try to keep your arms still. Press one foot down to the floor and back up. Now this is the more challenging variation. I want you to imagine like you're pushing your arms against a wall, okay, and your knees are coming back and touching a wall. Notice my lower back should be stable. Now if you need more help here, just press your hands down to the ground. So this one is a little bit more core focused, but you'll definitely still feel the butt as you press. Good. Press, we're almost there. Good, keep breathing. We'll do a combination to finish our last exercise. Okay, now this one's really, really helpful to train you to use your core and your glutes together. Last few reps. Notice as I press down, my other leg is nice and still. Okay, here we go. Both feet down. We do a combination. Lift your hips up, press the knees out, resist them in, and lower down. Lift up, press out, resist in, and lower. So not only are you using the part of your glute that you're familiar with, like the backside of your butt, but you're also using your glute medius. Those are the lateral aspects or the sides of your hips. They're not that big muscles, but they're very important for stability and control. And often they don't fire, right? They don't want to do work, and that's how you start to get things like injuries, okay? So these exercises that we're doing, really, you can do them whenever you want, but I love these kinds of movements at the beginning of a workout or at the end of a workout, okay? When your muscles are fatigued and you got to get them a little stronger. So a few more reps here, then we'll really get to stretch, pulling those knees into your chest. Really focus on squeezing your butt. Last couple. Pull those knees into your chest, give them a hug. You can release your knees from side to side, and that means we're all set. Come all the way up. By now, I'm sure you really want to take that band off, so carefully take it off. And the goal here today is that we're going to get a great lower body workout featuring both strength and cardiovascular or plyometric intervals, okay? I have my timer set for 30-second intervals. The workout's going to be 12 minutes. 4 exercises done 3 times each, or 4 sets of exercises, I should say. So the first 30 seconds is going to be a little lower intensity strength based. Second 30 seconds, I'll give you the option to take it up a notch. If you don't have a timer, you could just use your watch or your iPhone and we'll get started, okay? Make sure you have some room. We're going to start with a hip hinge. Hands to your hips, toes point straight ahead. Hips go back and hips go forward. Now, this is really just to warm up the lower body, making sure we're moving from our hip joint, not our back. To make this a little bit more challenging, hands across your chest. Now you want to make sure the movement is starting from your hips pushing back and then squeeze your butt to push forward, okay? We'll stick with this exercise for this first movement. I'm going to give you some options to make it more challenging, okay? Now, you can stay with both feet or alternating, reach one leg back as far down as you can, you're going to reach and then switch. Maybe you can reach down and touch the floor. Notice I'm still trying to keep that nice hip hinge. I'm driving up through my back leg. If that's too much, you just keep both hips going back and forward, okay? Our next exercise is going to be a squat, so we're working on that single leg stability here until we set both feet. Get ready for your squat. A few more reps. A little wider, toes slightly turned out. You're going to sit your hips down and up. The second time we do these circuits, I'll give you the option to add weights, which you can do the entire time, just to make it a little bit more challenging for the strength sets. I like to take my arms in front for a counterbalance. You can take your hands across your shoulders or hands behind your head for a prisoner squat. You really want to make sure for that prisoner squat, you're not pulling your head forward. It's not a hip hinge, it's a squat. Now we're going to up the intensity of this squat jump. So option, stay, add a little hop. Now this is 30 seconds. You can continue squat jumps the whole time. Maybe challenge yourself. See if you can do 5 in a row and then back to 5 regular body weight squats or 6 or 7, whatever the number is. Something in between here is touch the floor, touch the ceiling. Last 10 seconds, let's push as hard as we can. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Next up, alternating reverse lunges. So we'll switch legs every time. Get ready. Whew. Okay, catch your breath. So we're not resting in between our movements. So we're getting both strength and cardiovascular work. Hopefully you can hear I'm a little out of breath. So hands can go to your hips here, or like I was just showing, arms in front. Now notice you're on that single leg stance. Notice if one leg feels a little stronger or a little bit more stable than the other. To take this up a notch, jump, alternating lunges. Here we go. Now, again, you can go for the entire 30 seconds, or maybe just see if I can do 4, 5, 6 in a row. And then going back to those lunges, catch your breath. This is a really great benchmark, okay? If you can't do 30 seconds of one exercise, see how long you can do it for. Then the next time you do this workout, See if you can do a little bit more, okay? Again, you can add back in. You can be working with these lunges the whole time. Our next exercise is lateral lunges. Feet together. Deep breath in. Big step. Bend your outside knee, inside leg straight. Step together. Switch. Now, inner and outer thighs, outer hips working here. Roll those shoulders back. Take a deep breath in. If you want to make this more challenging without adding weights, reach down, reach up. Reach down, reach up. Our final variation is a skater. It's a lateral motion again. Here we go. Make sure you have room. You're going to hop to one foot and switch. Now you can go nice and slow like I'm going, keeping that back foot off the floor. Notice I'm using these arms. Now, maybe you need to tap your back foot. Maybe for a challenge, reach down, or faster, or further. This one, I really want you to push yourself because in 8 seconds, we're going back to our hip hinge. I'm gonna add weights. Make it a deadlift. 3, 2, 1. All right, grab those weights if you're using them. Same motion from the hips. Inhale, exhale. Notice those weights are hanging, but my back's not rounding. Because there's really not any rest between the exercises, if you're using weights or having to change position, do it as quickly as you can. This workout's only 12 minutes after all. Now, for this round, option to go back to that single leg. I'm gonna drop a weight. I'm gonna hold the other one sideways. Reach down and up. So this is gonna be enough time for us to catch our breath before we take it back up a notch. My weights are 12.5 pounds each. Just kidding, they're 15. So these are heavy. Whatever weights feel challenging, that's what the ones you're gonna use, okay? Get ready for that front squat. I'm gonna keep my weights. All right, quickly grab my other weight. I'll rest them on my shoulders. Hips down and up. Now in 30 seconds of any sort of strength set, especially if you added weights, you're not gonna get a ton of reps, that's okay. Think about form, think about sitting those hips back. You got options depending on how you're feeling. You can continue with these weights, or you'll quickly ditch the weights and go back to that squat jump. Notice the difference when you ditch the weights and you add a jump. All right, here we go. Hips down, up, up. Notice I'm using my arms to help me. If you want to challenge, reach those arms overhead. Make it even more cardiovascular here. If you need to catch your breath for a few reps, sit down and up, okay? Last 10 seconds, we're gonna push. Here we go, 10 seconds. Up, up. We're going alternating reverse lunges. I'll grab those weights. A few more reps. 3, 2, 1. Whew. Grab those weights. All right. Nice and tall. See if you can keep your chest up even more than when you did with that squat. Notice, depending, I lean slightly forward. For me, that helps me feel it in my glute. But maybe you're able to keep your chest up and get deeper. Everyone's a little different. That's totally cool. Same option, you can keep the weights or we'll ditch them for that jump split squat. Jump lunges. Here we go. 30 seconds. Switching sides using those arms. Breathe, breathe. Can you get lower? Can you jump higher? 15 seconds. Legs should be burning. Whew. 10 seconds. Alternating lunges. I'm gonna grab those weights. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew. Grab those weights. Arms by your sides, big step. Now, I'm talking. And you shouldn't be able to talk as much as I am right now. I'm kind of cheating a little because I want you to understand why we're doing this, what you should be feeling. I'm definitely out of breath. Few seconds. Let's go for one more rep each side. Ditch the weights. Skaters, here we go. Whew. Side to side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 30 seconds. Now, maybe go a little faster, hop a little further, reach down, touch the floor. That single leg deadlift really prepared us for this movement. Here we go, 8 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, one more round. Catch your breath. All right, deadlift. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Now, it's only 12 minutes. It's primarily lower body focused. Core's getting a workout too. This workout is great to do on a day you don't have time, because by using those lower body muscles, you're gonna be using the biggest muscles your body has, raises your metabolism, burns a lot of calories, gets you much stronger. I'm gonna stick with the deadlift. You can always go with that single leg deadlift, with or without the weights. I'm getting ready, last set of squats. Breathe, exhale. Gaze is slightly in front here. Notice if you look up, this is called horizoning. Basically, it means you're looking for the horizon. Not always so great on your neck. Focus on squeezing the shoulders back. Squats with the weights coming. Okay, weights up. Notice I changed my feet. A little wider, turned out. Butt down and up. Guys, I'm sweating, I'm dripping. We haven't even finished the workout yet, okay? You don't need a ton of time. You don't need a ton of equipment. You just need some intensity and some intelligent programming. You can do this workout on its own, call it a day. You can combine it with some upper body moves or core strength. You can combine it with some cardio. I would do this first. You're gonna do it with cardio, okay? Here we go. Last set, squat jumps. Try and get those feet off the floor. By the end of this workout, I do want you to feel like you need a rest. We haven't taken one yet. 15 seconds. Make sure those knees are tracking forward and slightly out. They're not collapsing in. Last 10 seconds, let's do this together. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grabbing those weights, reverse lunges. Pretend like you're carrying 2 heavy suitcases. Step back, step forward. Notice if you're leaning side to side. Whew. Now this is tough. It's meant to be tough. That's how you create changes, right? Challenging yourself intelligently. A few more reps. We'll ditch those weights, or you can keep them. See what your body needs today. All right, here we go. Jump switch lunges, 1 foot forward. Down, switch, switch, switch. If you have any knee injuries, take out the jump, smaller range of motion. If you need to, take a couple reps, take your regular lunge. Catch your breath, fix your form. For the last 10 seconds, we're gonna push as hard as we can. Here we go, 10 seconds. Pumping those arms, using those legs. 5, 4, 3, 2. Last exercise, let's go. Lateral lunges. Deep breath in. 1 minute of work left. If you don't have dumbbells, you could use a medicine ball, you could use a sandbag, you could even use a barbell. Whatever you have that's gonna give you some extra resistance. Guys, we're coming up to our last exercise, skaters. Let's make it count. Here we go, no weights, full on effort. 30 seconds. Side to side, side to side. I know this is feeling tough. I know you're working hard. The end is in sight. Here's where you really gotta push. When you see that finish line, you don't slow down, you pick it up. 10 seconds, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, oh my goodness, we're done. How you feeling? Good? I'm feeling great. So, here's what you need to remember. First, let's kind of cool it down. I'm gonna step in place and make sure my buzzer doesn't go off again. All right, set your feet. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. 2 more, bend those knees deeply. Inhale. It's also a great way to finish a very intense workout because we're gonna really blast those muscles that you've worked throughout an entire total body workout and fine tune them. So this is important not just for aesthetics, but also function because you're gonna build endurance in those muscles. Now, you don't actually need anything except some space to lay down. It's gonna be an awesome option to have a set of weights. Now these are 5 pounds. You could do somewhere between 3 and 8 pounds probably. What we'll do here today is unilateral work. So that means one side and then the other side. So we'll do a few exercises on each side in a row and then change positions. I'll use the weights, but remember, you don't have to. I have my handy timer set up. We have 45-second intervals of work and then 15 seconds to either transition or maybe for a little extra challenge, okay? So if we're gonna use the weights, here's what I want you to do. You're gonna set up on hands and knees. Take that one weight and place it behind, let's start with our left knee. Now it's really important here that you're gonna squeeze that weight very tight because you don't wanna lose it, okay? So if it's too much with the weight, you're just gonna drop it. Let's come to hands and knees, shoulders right over wrists, core pulled in tight. You have a neutral spine, so your lower back is arched naturally, but you're not sticking your butt out and you're not rounding your back. Let's get that 45 seconds on the clock, and we're starting with single leg glute kickbacks. So shoulders over wrist, you're gonna squeeze that weight and press the thigh bone up to hip height. So you don't need to go higher than your hip, right? And you wanna make sure you're lifting more than just a couple inches off the floor, because we're really trying to target right where the glute meets the thigh. Now you can certainly stay on both hands here, or for a challenge, take your opposite arm, which will be your right hand, and just check out your lower back, make sure it's neutral. This is gonna challenge your balance, and it's a nice reminder to keep a neutral spine, neutral pelvis. You can also take that same hand and pull your belly button in to remind you to engage your core. Gaze should generally be down at the floor. You're gonna draw those shoulders down and back. 10 more seconds here. Now, since we'll stay on this side, I'm gonna ask you to hold at the top and really squeeze that glute. You're exhaling as you press. In 3, 2, hold. So all I want you to do is to statically squeeze your glute and not move the leg. You can flex your opposite foot for support. Shoulders down and back. Same leg, we're gonna do lateral lifts, okay? So you're gonna lower that knee down in 3, 2, and 1. Now, squeeze that weight very tight. You're gonna take that leg and abduct it. That means lift it out to the side and lower it down. This movement's also called a hydrant. What you wanna be really careful of though is as you lift, in this case, your left leg out to the left, that you don't lean to the right. So try to keep your shoulders over your wrists and really focus on the outer portion of that glute. Those smaller muscles around the sides of the hip, they're very important for balance and stability, and they're gonna help actually protect your knee, strengthening those muscles. Okay, so you're gonna squeeze the outside there. Again, same challenge option, take that opposite right hand to your lower back. Notice it's a little harder to stabilize. 10 seconds, this time we'll hold it up and pulse. In 4, 3, 2, hold it up. Now you're gonna hold it up and pulse for 10, 9, 8, pulsing from the outer glute. We're gonna switch this weight to the other side in 4, 3, 2, 1. You should have noticed that other leg working to stabilize. Quickly switch the weight to the right knee or the opposite legs. And here we go, second set or second side. Press up and lower. Press up and lower. Now we just have these 2 exercises on this side before we change positions. So if you're feeling any tension in your wrists, you can make fists. You could come down to elbows, but I don't love that because that's really gonna change the angle at your joints. So try to stay on hands and knees. You can always put a cushion under the opposite knee if that helps you out. Remind yourself, draw your shoulders down and back. And remember, you're welcome to use that 15-second interval in between to help you take a rest if you need it, okay? Really squeeze where the glute meets the thigh. You should be feeling that hamstrings as well. Get ready to hold in 5, 4, 3, 2, just freeze. Now, of course, you might be checking me out every so often to see my form. Generally, I want your gaze sort of toward the top of a mat if that's what you are on. You don't want to look up too high, and you don't want to tuck your chin to your chest. Gaze straight in front. 3, 2, abduction. You're gonna lift it out and resist down. Now, with these unilateral exercises where we're working one side at a time, it's really telling. You can kind of see quite easily if one side is stronger or tighter or just asymmetrical from the other. So just notice you're using your breath, you're exhaling as you lift. Big squeeze there. Good, draw those shoulders down and back. Keep breathing. You got 20 seconds. Now again, if you need to reset your upper body, you can. We'll hold this for a quick pulse at the top, and then we're gonna flip over onto our back. So just make sure you're ready to flip over. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, hold it at the top here, pulse it up, 10, 9, 8, and 7. I'm gonna remove the weight, lower my knee, and flip onto my back with both weights. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, quick change. Now you can take one weight, or if you have a set, both weights, and they're gonna go to your hips. Okay, let's start. Both feet flat on the floor, bridges. Lifting your hips and lowering. Okay, so let's do just a few with both feet on the ground. And just make sure that you feel even side to side here. Now you can also do this without the weights. Now for a challenge, walk your feet together, lift, take one knee up to tabletop, lower the foot, and then resist the hips. Switch legs every time. So you'll lift the hips into this bridge with both feet on the floor, lift one leg, lower, and lower. Now, if you did this wider feet, it's actually gonna make it harder in this case because you just have those feet offset. That moment, you lift your leg up. So for a little bit more stability, if you're gonna march, call this a glute bridge march, try it with your feet closer together to make it easier. Now let's just hold this bridge up. Okay, I'm gonna ditch the weights. We're gonna do a single leg bridge. I'm gonna lower your hips, walk your feet together in 3, 2, 1. Weights to the sides, left foot down, right leg up. Hands by your sides. You're just lifting and lowering. It's exactly the same idea in that we're lifting and lowering. We're gonna try to keep this top leg stable. For a challenge, maybe straighten that top leg up to the ceiling. Now here's where you really start to feel the burn. Okay, you're welcome to keep that knee bent, especially if you have tight hips or tight hamstrings. Try to keep your gaze up at the ceiling, keep your core nice and tight. At the end of this exercise, we're gonna hold the single leg bridge and march the opposite leg, so the one that's up to the ceiling, okay? Let's get ready to hold those hips up, and that top, in this case, right leg, is gonna tap down. A few more reps. 3, 2, hold. Okay, top leg, tap and lift. Now you should be really feeling this in the supporting leg. Use your hands to help you. Any pain in the lower back, reset, or just lower the hips a few inches. Let's get ready to do the same on the other side in 3, 2, right foot down, left knee up. Lower the hips and lift, 45 seconds. Now we're coming toward the end of this workout. Again, you're really targeting the butt here and a lot of both the smaller and larger muscles. So the muscles around the hips and even the inner thighs. Notice here, can you keep your hips even side to side? That's your core engaging. Remember, for that challenge, you can straighten that top leg up. Imagine like you're trying to stamp the ceiling. Exhale on the way up, resist on the way down. Maybe even challenge yourself, see how softly you can lower those hips. Get ready to hold those hips up. We're gonna march that left leg up and down. Coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's hold those hips up. Now just your left leg taps and lifts. Okay guys, we're coming to the very end of this workout. We're gonna finish with a glute bridge march. So you're gonna try to keep your hips up a whole time. I'm really feeling this in the back of my legs. I hope you are too. Keep breathing. We're gonna just march those feet. Okay, one foot down, other leg up. Now imagine like you're balancing something here on your hips. Try not to let your hips sway. If you want that extra challenge, extend your leg up to the ceiling, but make it really smooth. Get nice little hamstring stretch as you do that. Reach and pull. Reach and pull. You can even take your hands to your hip bones like I have them and make sure your hip bones aren't moving side to side. Try to keep your hips up. Last few reps. Make sure you breathe. Maybe pick up that pace, but see if you can keep that consistency of how still your hips are. Last few. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to take both feet down, lower your hips down. Excellent. Carefully, slowly pull your knees into your chest.